This week, the Community Services Minister launched 2 inquiries into child protection failures. There's the case of a 12-year-old falling pregnant while in state care and separate claims of teenage prostitution. Mary Wooldridge joined me in the studio a short time ago. Minister, thanks for coming in today.
Good to be with you, Josie.
Now, this week you've ordered an investigation into the case of a 12-year-old girl who fell pregnant while in state care. What have you learnt so far?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not in a position to talk about individual cases because we always keep the best interests of the child at the front of our mind. So we can't talk about individual cases, but we will always investigate where we think there's a child who is known to the system or who should be known to the system.
What agencies were in contact with this girl?
I really can't go into individual details, and the family and the young woman herself has actually requested privacy in relation to that. They've been very distressed about the coverage. They want to get on with their lives. We've got a young mum with a young baby dealing with the challenges of motherhood, and she's just trying to deal with those challenges.
So DHS certainly was involved on one level. Will anyone get sacked over this?
Well, once again, I actually can't confirm whether DHS has been involved or not, because that would notify whether she was part of the child protection system.
The Premier confirmed it and the Child Safety Commissioners confirmed it. Why won't you?
Well, the Premier was responding to the Herald Sun article, and it's very clear in the law, the Children, Youth and Families Act, saying you can't connect an individual case, particularly an unusual one like this one, and children's courts proceedings, so that they're known to the department and known to child protection.
You've also ordered an inquiry into reports that a 14-year-old girl was prostituted out by another teen at a residential care facility. Are the carers involved in that case still looking after children?
So once again, I can't go into details of the case.
But you can answer that question. Why are the workers who allegedly knew that this was going on, are they still caring for children?
Well, the facts are actually not confirmed in relation to the way that it was reported once again in the media.
What have you been able to confirm?
And what we're looking into in detail is what is the situation around the girls who have been identified and what is actually happening previously and what will happen in the future. Once again, we need to make sure that the young women involved are actually getting the support and protection that they need to get their lives back on track.
But is your reluctance to discuss the basics of these sorts of massive failures, does that also contribute to a sense of a closed-door policy at DHS that we don't know what goes on behind the scenes and any failures are covered up?
Well, I actually would love to be much clearer about it because it does make it appear as if there's something to hide where there's absolutely not. But the law's very clear and we have to keep the best interests of young people at heart in every instance in terms of everything that we do. What we are looking at doing, though, is actually seeing how we can be more transparent in our dealings with the public and with the community so we can be clear about what is happening.
Did you learn about both of those cases through a letter to your office?
I did receive a letter in relation to those cases.
Who from?
And I wouldn't identify the individual. And
was it a concerned member of the public or was it from an agency?
So I can't go into details because, once again, the Act says you can't disclose notifications in terms of concerns.
But does it concern you then that you find out about serious failures like this through a letter rather than through the department?
Well, I haven't said that that's the way I found out. I did receive a letter in relation to these circumstances. If I was to say that's the first time I found out, or I had known about them previously, that would once again identify whether those young people were part of child protection. And so it's not about not wanting to say it, it's actually about the law, which says we must keep the best interests of children at heart, and that means we can't disclose personal details relating to their cases.
The Premier's already flagged that it will be an incredibly tough budget. Can you guarantee your sector won't lose funding?
Well, a couple of weeks out, I can't go into details of the budget, but the Premier is committed to delivering all our election commitments, and we had substantial commitments in relation to child protection, some really innovative new policies getting on with protecting young people
and will that get
also
funding?
Getting their lives back on track. Now, I can't confirm exactly what's going to happen, but we have said we will be delivering all our election commitments. Now, there's a lot of other good ideas. We have an inquiry into child protection going on, which is setting a longer-term agenda.
And what have you learnt from that inquiry so far?
Well, the inquiry's independent of government, as it should be, because it's assessing in many ways actions of government in relation to protection of children.
I've learnt that the senior DHS child protection officer is actually assisting behind the scenes running the inquiry. Isn't that a conflict of interest?
Well, the panel is very clear. It's former Supreme Court Justice Philip Cummins, Dorothy Scott, well-respected child protection expert, and Bill Scales, former head of the Productivity Commission. There is a secretariat that supports that panel that is is in the Premier's department, so the independent central agency. We have seconded individuals from a range of areas: DHS, education, justice, also from the sector, the community sector as well, to build a group of expertise to advise the panel in that process. But it's the panel who will be doing the report and the panel who will be making the recommendations to government.
Do you still have confidence in the head of your department?
I do. I work very well with the Secretary of the Department. There are no doubt many challenges in child protection and across the issues more broadly of the Department of Human Services. But what we are driving is new levels of rigour, new levels of accountability, and we're aspiring to new levels of transparency so that we can make sure we're taking every action for vulnerable Victorians.
Good luck, Minister, and thanks for joining 7:30 Victoria.
Thanks, Josie.